Welcome back to this podcast. I'm Real Driver Out, and I'm sitting in the Canadian Motorsports studio, and I have Adam Nielsen, my co-host, sitting across from me, and it's the new year.
It will be.
It is. It will have been. It will have been.
I went to bed before midnight. I definitely did not leave my house.
Oh, I'm probably for sure not leaving my house.
It's supposed to be bitterly cold and snowing.
Yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. Forget that.
Yeah.
I haven't gone anywhere for like
years
since I bought this house.
Yeah.
Well, once. We went to one New Year's party and left at 11. Because everyone else went to the bars, and we're like,
I'm running a really good streak of being asleep before midnight.
Yeah, you've done that for years.
And I don't want to ruin it. And now is not a good time to start.
It's usually shortly after midnight. Even like when in college, the last place I wanted to be on New Year's was at the fucking bars.
There's too many people.
There's cover, and then you're shoulder to shoulder, and it's loud. So forget that. No, I'm out.
I don't get it either.
New Year's is a holiday I don't really celebrate. I don't do shit for it.
Speaking of bars, Robbie, we're going to really digress really fast.
Good.
Here, okay?
Love it.
I came up with a brilliant business plan, and I know that we always talk about how we shouldn't share our business plans on the podcast, but here I am.
Go for it.
Are you ready for this?
I'm sitting down.
Apparently, this already exists, and I'm a little upset by it, but I still think it's a really good idea.
Okay.
Laundromat bar.
So you go and get your you wash your clothes.
So you like go in there, and there's like a laundromat and a bar.
Yes.
You're washing and drying clothes and drinking beer.
It's brilliant.
Right. I'm going to call it Scrub-A-Pub-Dub.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that seems to be like a way to make a business work. It's like, we want to do this.
I think it would really go off well in like a college area.
Yeah, or like any downtown area that like a apartment.
Yeah, you got to be in a place that's apartment heavy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like college kids would be like, yeah, I could go wash a load of clothes and get a beer.
Yeah. Then you're for sure getting your laundry done more than once a semester.
Right. It's like, if you do like every third load you get a free beer.
Oh, man, that'd be great.
Just to encourage, clean living, Robbie.
I like it.
I have a coworker who is known to be a barman, right?
Okay.
And I told him this today, and he said, "Yeah, that's brilliant." And I said, "We'll go in together, but you run the laundromat and I run the bar." And he's like, "That doesn't make any sense." And I was like, "Doesn't it though?" And he's like, "You know what? That's actually, you're right. Yeah. No, you're right."
You don't want to buy your drugs from a drug doer. You want to buy your drugs from a drug dealer.
Right. So he runs the laundromat.
Yep.
I mean, not that I don't wash my clothes. Yes. Let's not get this twisted. Because I can already see where this is going. But he runs the laundromat. I'll run the bar.
Yes. You're not going to make any drunken mistakes.
Well, we gotta stay on the right side of making money here.
Which I think you will.
Thin margins.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
Bars make money hand over fist, I assume.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
We'll get I'll figure out a way to can't you put alcohol in? Don't they make like little pods now?
Like Tide Pods?
Yeah.
For like eating?
But they're like alcohol. Like you can get them like bourbon and stuff like that in a little pod that you pop in your mouth and it melts and then you get a shot.
Yeah, I think that's
that's the only way we'll serve shots.
Genius.
I'll probably kill somebody because they'll get drunk enough and then accidentally consume a Tide Pod.
Yeah. What's that? The different colors. It's fine.
Well, it's not BYOS.
Yeah.
You can't bring your own soap.
You got to buy
laundry detergent.
Yeah, you got to buy it there.
That way we keep the Tide Pods out for safety. For safety.
Yeah, it's all in the machine. You just put the quarters in and push the button.
Right. And like laundromats are loud, but bars are loud too, so it's fine.
Yeah, it won't be any louder than a regular bar.
Right, exactly.
I think this will work.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, every business now downtown is just like, we're going to do this, but we need to make money. We're adding a bar. We want a trampoline park. No, we need to make money.
We got to have a liquor license.
We're adding a bar. Yep. So now it's Smash Park, so it's got a liquor license.
Didn't the go-kart track here in town get a liquor license?
I haven't been there.
I feel like you can buy beers there.
Probably. That's probably why they're still open.
I mean, it's Is it smart? It's probably
No.
business smart, but it's like
It's
not smart.
At least, I'll say go-karts, it's pretty safe. And you got a helmet on. But
Yes. Only sell beer.
it's kind of discouraged.
Don't
Yeah.
sell hard liquor.
You don't need a liquor license then?
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I'm not a business major. But
But
I'm
like that,
pretty sure.
it's harder to get so drunk you're dangerous
At a go-kart track with beer?
with beer. Like you can only, like the amount of alcohol you're consuming in the time frame you have.
I feel like Dalton has proven that otherwise at Grid Life.
He takes it pretty. He takes his drive. So like,
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the driving part.
Credit-
Just the drinking beer part.
I know, but credit where credit is due. Like when Dalton, so like at Alpine Festival,
Yes.
which you didn't go to with us this year.
I couldn't be bothered.
That's fine, whatever. You didn't miss that much, honestly. The music lineup was garbage.
Adam, they said it was the best one they ever had.
Jabay is with this team Adam on this one, so I don't even want to hear it. But like the car was running, he was getting in laps, things were going well. So like he didn't drink to excess.
No.
But then like Mid Ohio,
Car brakes.
it was a different story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Midiv's the same way. Like, he doesn't really drink much at Midiv.
Right. He's credit where credit is due.
Yeah,
when he knows he has to get up early the next morning and has to wake up sober.
So you know what they should do? Sunday Cup needs to go first every morning.
Well, at the rate we're going, we're not far off of Sunday Cup having its own heat.
That'd be sweet.
It's going to be ridiculous.
I like it. I like it a
Sunday
lot.
Cup is out of control. There's like
How many
GLTC
how many
drivers.
drivers?
There's like GLTC drivers who are like, you know what? This is a lot of fucking work. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'll just do the Sunday Cup thing instead.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah.
There's like 1 billion GLTC drivers in 2022, it looks like.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah.
It's a lot of drivers.
Yeah. There's going to be some disappointed people.
Yeah. Every event's going to sell out. This isn't the predictions episode, but we'll get there. But I'm just saying.
I don't know if that's true. Every Midwest event is going to sell out. Grid Life is not notoriously or historically does not do well at new tracks the first year.
Right.
And there's a lot of new tracks on the calendar this year.
I think.
Like Heartland Park is going to be off the hook this year.
Yes, it is.
Off the hook.
Not on.
No.
Completely off.
Off the hook.
Jimmy was Jimmy.
Jimmy was Jimmy.
Yep. Well, I mean, even the number of drivers that bought for Coda already.
Yeah, crazy.
Fucking insane.
But like the first year, they barely made it. Like barely made a full heat.
Yep.
And this year is going to be. I mean, you could pack a lot of cars because what is it like 50 cars a mile that they're doing now?
No, it's 25 cars a mile.
25 cars a mile.
I think so.
Oof, that's going to be tough on Lime Rock. Lime Rock's like 1.3 miles long or something like
I know.
that. It'll be like 28 cars.
That's what I'm saying. I think Lime Rock's for sure selling out.
Oh yeah, that'll be Gold Pass only.
Yes.
Probably for the time attack too.
Yeah, probably. So.
But should we stop delaying and
Yeah.
do this?
What do we have here, Adam?
I don't
this
fucking
here, hold on,
know,
hold on.
Robbie.
This is the opener presented by.
I mean, it kind of is.
It kind of is.
We're just gonna do stuff today.
Yeah, we're doing stuff.
We got a bunch of things.
It's the end of the year. We're phoning it in.
Not really. I mean, I'm here. I didn't phone that in. Katie wanted me to.
But it's very important for the fans, Adam. They appreciate when
Having an infant is tough.
having 2 kids is tough.
Honestly,
so I'm
the one
told.
barely, hardly even exists anymore. Like, he just handles himself.
Well, that's good.
Give him a hot dog every once in a while, and he's fine. But the infant,
Needy.
less so.
Kids these days,
Yeah.
so needy.
Yeah, you're telling me. You don't even know, Robbie.
I don't know. But if you need anything like custom furniture, railings, if you need to get caged, railed, factoryfabrication.com. Booney will hook you up.
I bet he makes like a sweet baby crib. Like a wrought iron baby. That would be super dangerous.
No, it'll be fine.
No, because I didn't care, but apparently you got to put padding on every fucking surface.
No,
It's
you
so
don't.
much work. I don't know. She's not in one anyway. It doesn't matter because she's too small for that still. But anyway, somebody shipped me this. I don't know who you are. mystery person. I apparently need to stop giving out my address to random strangers because now it's starting to get out of hand. But somebody who, either on purpose or not on purpose, did not claim this, sent me a 12-pack of seltzer water from a company called Miracle Seltzer, who I'm pretty sure is a division of Liquid Death.
Their website tells you nothing. I looked.
But there is a Liquid Death Grim Reaper logo.
There's nothing that points you towards. See, if I do, damn it. If I do contact, it pulls up an email. But if you go, there's no about section. There's no link to.
There's no address. There's no information whatsoever on this can.
Yep, Miracle
All
Seltzer.
it says on it, it's a miracle. Do not waste it.
Brought to you by House of Miracles, LLC.
I'm
That's
pretty
it.
sure.
It doesn't say where.
But that's the Liquid Death logo, isn't it? That Grim Reaper?
I thought so. But there's no connection on their website. There's a Pickle Rick section, but I think that's a special edition seltzer.
Is that pickle-flavored seltzer water?
I don't think it is. I just think it's Pickle Rick from
Rick and Morty. It'd be hilarious if they had pickle-flavored seltzer water.
I'd drink that.
That would be weird.
It doesn't.
Anyway, I don't know. Somebody sent this to me. I'm pretty sure it's just straight, essentially club soda. So we'll open it up and take a swig of it, but it's probably going to be hot garbage.
It's pure carbonated water. That's it.
Zero's all the way down on the nutritional facts.
You can buy a 12-pack for $18, and you can pay with PayPal.
It's not exactly cheap.
No, it's not.
That's more than $1 a can.
That means somebody cares about us enough to send us.
Oh, yeah.
Here, hold on.
Yeah, get it right up in the... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was crisp.
That was good. All right, now we got to drink it.
Oh, so gross. I don't get it.
It's not bad.
No, it has a weird aftertaste.
No, it doesn't. It's not that bad. It's not... What's the one I don't like?
It's not nearly as bubbly as some of the others.
Yeah, the really bubbly one I don't like that everyone does.
What was that garbage
Perrier.
stuff?
I don't like that.
Does Perrier...
Is that the one I don't like? I don't remember.
It's probably... I don't remember. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
I don't... Well, you can have the other 10.
I'll drink them. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to buy some limeade. I'm going to take a swig of it and then pour a bunch of limeade in it, and I'm going to drink it.
Just put Mio in there.
No. I want limeade.
I'm sure they make a limeade Mio.
No. Booney brought...
I know.
He does that. He takes this, he takes limeade and this, and now I'm hooked. It's good.
Just drink the limeade, Robbie.
But it's not sparkling. I need it to sparkle.
There's a raspberry lemonade Mountain Dew right now that I haven't tried yet. That sounds delightful.
Pretty sure I've had that, and it's delicious.
Sounds delightful.
That's like the raspberry lemonade Sunkiss, I think it is. It's good.
Why do people send us carbonated things to drink on a podcast?
Because I don't want to get dehydrated.
Yeah, but now we're going to be all burpy. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, it's carbonated, Robbie. It's straight water and carbon.
That's not how that works.
It's carbonated.
It's carbon.
It's carbon. It's just like
straight carbon fiber water.
It's carbon fiber water.
It enhances perception.
It does.
It transcends consciousness.
Lower your brain waves and open your eyes really wide. There are miracles all around you. Each can is your one-way ticket to a new dimension where you will experience 100% pure psychic love. Miracle is seltzer for the mind, body, and spirit. Miracle Seltzer is 12 ounces of carbonated water to make all your dreams come true. Cures all ailments, Robbie.
I feel like they're...
Promotes lifelong enrichment, brings rejuvenation of body, enhances perception, transcends consciousness.
None of these claims have been proven.
This
by
is
the FDA.
absolutely made by Liquid Death because
be.
they had all those. That was like talking about
murdering your thirst,
and like then it growing back into a fully formed thirst again, and like it was just out of control.
I'm not thirsty anymore.
I don't get it. It's less bubbly for sure.
It's refreshing. I like it.
That's not the word I would use. I should have brought the half-drank bottle of water Joe I had in my truck to chase it down instead.
It would taste the same. It just wouldn't have any
I
carbon.
drink so much water, Joe, I can't even begin to describe it. I love it so much.
It's good. Plus, it gives you that caffeine hit.
Hell yeah.
This doesn't do it. It just gives you the
Straight
refreshing.
to the veins. Just. Should we move on?
I think so.
So, last week, a week ago yesterday, so my younger sister, I keep calling her my little sister, but she's like 31.
She's like an adult. Yeah.
She's not a little sister anymore. So I'm just like trying not to call her little sister anymore. I don't know if that's a thing that you have dealt with. Like do you call your little brother your little sister? Because you have one of each.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if I don't remember.
Will they forever be your little sister?
Do I ever call him? I don't think I ever call him my little brother. I think it's always.
He's always been
my
your brother.
brother.
Yeah. She don't talk about your sister that much.
I don't call her my little sister.
No?
I don't think so.
I don't know. She's just always been my little sister, and now I feel weird about it because like she's married, she's got 2 kids,
She's an adult.
she's got a doctorate or a master's degree. I guess she says master's degree.
Oh, working on her doctorate?
I don't think so.
Oh, well,
My parents wanted both of us to go to school for 4 years, right? Like
Yeah.
that was a big thing for my parents. I went to school for 2 years. She went to school for 6 years.
they got the 8 years.
So we averaged out 4 years.
Yeah, they got what they wanted.
So I don't even want to hear him complain.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, her husband, as we've kind of talked about before, he's a fighter pilot for the Navy. He flies F-16s, F-15s, F-15s.
That's the ones that.
It's the older one.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's one of the older ones.
Okay.
It's very large.
Yes.
So I don't know. He flies F-15s. Right now, he's deployed.
Okay.
And so my sister was home alone for Christmas. She didn't want to be home alone for Christmas. So we worked out a deal where she didn't want to fly with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old by herself, which I can't blame her because
That would be
sounds
awful.
awful. So, and my dad is like a little bit claustrophobic.
Okay.
And
He's not a flyer.
No.
Okay.
He did not want to jump on the COVID tube.
Don't blame
if he
him.
didn't have to,
No.
and it wasn't just because of COVID.
No.
So, so I ended up volunteering for the position. So my mom bought some tickets. I flew out of Des Moines into Dallas and then into Raleigh, where my little sister picked my
you had to go to
sister
Dallas?
picked me up. It wasn't that bad. You guys were all like
Dallas.
working up Dallas about being terrible.
It's terrible.
It wasn't that bad, and actually, I almost got screwed because of Des Moines.
Des Moines is the best one.
Well,
There's nobody
so
there.
It was great, but so we sat on the tarmac for an hour because of a maintenance issue, which is filling me with confidence.
Yeah, we didn't really help that either.
No, no, not really.
you
Dude,
put
there
me-
was this lady back behind me, like before I even got on the plane, before I even knew that we were having trouble. Like you could just see her, like she was 4 or 5 people ahead of me boarding, and
Okay.
she was like, if it takes
Anxious.
30 seconds to go through, have your ticket scanned and go through, she took 3 minutes, right? Like you could just looking at her, you're like, she's a pain in the ass,
Okay.
right? You know the type.
Yeah, of course.
Male or female, they
Yeah.
both exist. Don't at me with that.
No,
but you could just
you
look
could
at me
tell.
like, you're a pain. And she was like 3 seats back from me, and she was losing her mind about the fact that we were sitting there. And I was like inches away from turning around going, look, lady, our options are sitting here and let them fix the mechanical issue, die in a fiery ball of death. Which would you prefer?
Yeah.
What do you want?
There's nothing anybody can do here. Just sit and wait.
Anyway, so flew down there, and then the next morning I got right back up again and flew home, except I flew from Charlotte to Kansas City that time.
Okay.
So the reason we flew out of Charlotte is because we could one stop it.
Yeah.
It was a direct flight, no connectors, which we didn't want to deal with small children. So my sister lives like 3.5 hours from the Charlotte airport. So we drove her 2019 Kia Sorento hybrid. And of course
That sounds really exciting.
I drove
Well, yeah.
because yeah.
For the content.
So I've never driven anything this new and fancy.
Except your truck.
Yeah, but it's not this fancy.
Oh.
New and fancy, Robbie.
Gotcha. I was going to say, your truck's kind of fancy for a work truck.
It's really not, though.
You have all the telemetry and stuff. That's not just...
That's standard
everything.
issue.
Is it
on
really?
the newer Chevys.
Huh.
Yeah. And then like the infotainment center with Apple, like you have to have a screen now because you have to have a backup camera.
Yep.
So they just as well give all that crap to you anyway. Like,
Yep.
I mean, you're not getting it for free. They're not giving you anything. Don't get me wrong. But
Just
like,
raises the price of everything.
I mean, if you're going to have the screen, all that shit, you just as well get the rest of it. But like mine's still very peasant spec because like the button row across the bottom of the dash, there's like in the middle, there's like a spot where there's buttons. And mine has the power tailgate, which I've never got to use because I don't have a tailgate.
Oh, yeah.
And then the hazard light and the traction control, and that's it. And Dalton's is solid buttons all the way across.
His has like extra buttons.
Yeah. There's like not enough room for all the buttons.
Let's say mine's similar.
Mine has 3. He probably has 10 or 12.
Yeah, his has all of them.
Had.
Yeah, he traded it.
Right. But so the Sorrento, full hybrid, which I've never driven a hybrid before.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was a few things that I never thought about having to deal with.
Okay.
When we were in stop and go traffic at like a stoplight,
You think the car's dead.
well, so the engine is off. It uses the battery to take off, and then as you get to a certain speed, the engine kicks in and takes over.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do at a stoplight? You creep.
Yeah.
Right? You can't creep with an electric vehicle
What, like,
because it's not doing anything unless you give it gas.
oh, you can't just take your foot off the brake.
Right? If you take your foot off the brake, it just sits there until you give it gas. And then it goes.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And then you got to hit the brake, which was really obnoxious.
I assume that comes with a little bit
Right,
experience
you just
to
gotta
be a
get
little more
used to
smooth
it.
with it.
Right, yeah. But like, you know, and I know like a lot of vehicles now, even the not hybrid ones, they have like the where the engine shuts off,
Oh, yeah, I hate that.
which is dumb.
Yep.
I can't imagine that it really saves any significant amount.
Nope.
But I mean, I guess they got to do what they got to do. That I know Dalton's girlfriend, her truck has that, and there's a button right on the dash, like off.
First thing you do.
Yep, just bam, hit that button, it's off.
Yep.
So, but anyway, that was kind of weird because when you're backing up, it does it electrically. It has like a buzzer, like a beeper.
Oh, yeah, like an Amazon truck would have.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like you're a garbage truck backing up, beep beep beep. You know, like, which is very strange, and it's like unnecessarily loud, in my opinion.
And I think that's so hit or miss. Like some cars, it's real quiet. Other cars are obnoxious.
It's definitely louder than like most average car engines. And the whole point of it is so that people hear it.
Yep.
But it's definitely louder than most cars at an idle.
So it's doing its thing.
So it's totally unnecessarily loud.
Yep.
Like it could be quieter and nobody would be any more
Is that
unsafe.
Is that tunable? Or is it just
I mean, my sister does not seem like the type of person who would put any effort into figuring that out.
no? It's just
And I certainly didn't have the time to deal with it. So, the other thing that this had that I've never dealt with before is like radar controlled cruise.
Okay.
So it would keep you a certain distance away from a car, and there was a little switch on the steering wheel that you could flick the switch and you could increase or decrease the distance.
Yep.
Now, we were in decently heavy traffic, but speed limit traffic. We weren't like stopped
everyone's
like on
moving.
the interstate. We were in pretty heavy traffic, but we weren't like doing 45 in a 65, right? We were doing the speed limit. We were cruising along, but we weren't like out in the open. This wasn't driving across Nebraska.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there was some decent traffic. So a lot of times you'd be coming up on somebody, and if they're not going remarkably slower than you, you don't realize that the car slowed itself down a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Because it just kind of lifts. It doesn't brake. If you like have a really fast closing speed, it'll brake and be like, oh yeah, right. So like you would catch yourself behind a car for God knows how long doing 5 miles an hour less than the cruise is actually set at because it doesn't tell you.
Right. You have to be
It
paying
just
attention.
slows you down. And the car is so hyper focused on telling you how efficient you're driving that the speed you're going there, the big display in the middle of the gauges is a picture of the battery and the engines and telling you like what is is the engine charging the batteries? Is the engine driving the wheels? Is the motor driving the wheels? Is it a mixture of everything? And it tells you like how efficient you're driving.
Okay.
Right? Because they're trying to push you into that.
Yeah, of course.
Which it's a 3-row crossover SUV that gets like mid-30s. So I mean, it's doing all right for itself because
pretty good.
It's bigger than like your Rogue.
Yeah,
was,
for sure.
And it definitely is probably, I would say,
not quite a Suburban, but it's,
no, definitely not. Like it's
about the size of a minivan.
Yeah.
Just different.
But a minivan is better. I tried real hard to talk my sister into a minivan.
She wasn't having
I told her
any of
as
it.
soon as your son is old enough to be able to let him out of his seat and open his door on his own, you'll wish you had a minivan. Because you have to like keep your kid from slamming it into the car next to you. Not an issue with a minivan because that sucker slides.
That's true.
So good. Anyway, I don't know, the cruise control thing, and I always had it set to the shortest distance that I could.
Yep.
And it was still like a lot farther back than I thought was necessary. And one of the other things that I kind of had a couple of times where I was like, this is really frustrating, was I would be behind somebody, and I'm way back behind them, right? Because I'm not as close as I really
would normally be. By yourself. Like
maybe that's the safe distance. Okay, fine, whatever. But like, and I'm not like a tailgater.
No, you're
driver.
not.
I try not to be.
Not that I can ever remember.
But so I'd be, I'm back and I'm watching. Almost always, like, I'm Iowa nice about this. If there's somebody in the fast lane who's closing on me pretty quickly, I'll let them go before I merge.
Yes.
But there were a handful of times where there was somebody who was kind of next to me, not going that much faster than me, and I was coming up on a vehicle slower than me, so they would finish their pass, and there's a vehicle behind them.
Okay.
So, but they were far enough apart that I didn't feel like I was being a dick
to
jumping in, but they weren't far enough apart that I could slide in there without pissing off the car. And so then I would slide over and it would go, whoa, you're too close. And it would brake until that car was far enough away. And then it would speed back up.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, this is.
So you got to like disengage it.
And like there was a bunch of times where I was like, oh, this is why people drive like assholes around me. It's not them. It's their fucking car.
Okay. I never thought of that.
Like, and I think that's a lot of times where I'll get someone who passes me and then slides over, and then 2 miles later I'm passing them.
But you didn't change your speed limit.
But I never changed my speed. That's because they have radar cruise, and they're behind a semi-truck that's doing 2 miles an hour slower than their cruise is set, and they never realized it. And then when you pass them, they go, oh, shit, I did get slowed down, didn't I? And so when you finish your pass, they go blitzing by you again.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's totally what's happening. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Not always.
That's not always the case. There's a lot of just moron people who, like, I know that car's got cruise, and you're not using it, clearly.
Yep.
But, like, I think that's the case in a decent number, especially with newer vehicles. If they're in real new vehicles or up-spec vehicles, that's definitely what's happening. In a lot of cases.
That would explain the Ford F-150 on the way back to Christmas that was next to me, and then not like way behind me, then right next to me, then way behind me. Like, I turned just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah, he probably had radar cruise.
He was following the car in front of me. Like, he'd
Right.
catch up to the car that was in the slow lane.
Yeah.
And then he would just kind of wait there. And I'm like, why is he matching my speed?
Right.
And I'm just creeping along this other car, and then he'd go around. Yeah. That makes. I think that's exactly what was
his
happening.
truck probably has radar cruise,
Yep.
and his truck is managing the gap between it and the thing in front of you, and he's not paying close enough attention to realize what it's doing until he gets passed by you again, and then goes, God damn it, and passes you back.
Yep. That's exactly what he did for like the whole stretch of I-80.
So frustrating.
Like, is this guy messing with me?
Yeah, totally.
Because I didn't change my speed once.
Yeah.
It's just the whole time.
So that was kind of a light bulb moment for me.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I got nothing good or bad to say about it. It's some vehicle.
Did you use Like, did you disengage the cruise when you come off like an exit or something?
Like with a brake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I did not let it slow me down.
Because Jess and I test drove a Jeep Cherokee. This is like well over a year
Last
ago.
week? Because you could get a pink one now?
God, no.
Robbie.
No. This
Robbie.
is like 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I promise.
It's in the garage, isn't it?
Fuck no. But we test drove a Cherokee, and it had that adaptive cruise, and it would follow it to the stoplight. And
I'm
stop.
sure that this would have too, but like
I know not all of them do that though.
I wasn't thinking about it, so I didn't like test that out.
That takes a lot of trust. Like you have to believe
my sister
that it's
was
going to
like,
do it.
my sister was like, this is 100% something that she would do. I think she spent a lot of time researching it and bought this thing because it's stupid safe.
Yeah, probably.
And she made a comment multiple times about how safe it is.
Yeah. She's buying it for her 2 children to not
Like
die
it'll
in a car
brake
crash.
for you and all that stuff.
Yep.
So that's technically it's his. She has a Ford Fusion
Okay.
that is parked like in a lot somewhere on base. They live on base, but it's in a lot somewhere. And like she said that like once every other week or so she'll drop the kids off at daycare and then go get the Fusion and drive it for the day just so it's not dead. But otherwise she drives that thing exclusively. But that's technically his.
Okay.
So
I drove.
I have a feeling when he gets back, it won't be.
It won't be hers anymore. Or
No.
Yeah, well, it'll be
He'll
hers.
get the Fusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
100%.
Because you can't put the kids in the Fusion. You got that. You need the big car.
Put him in a Chrysler Pacifica minivan. She was like, I don't want a minivan. And I was like, you get a hybrid minivan, Katie. Or Aaron. God, I keep doing this. Dude, I've had so much trouble in the week since I hung out with my sister. Keep calling my wife my sister's name now. I'm so bad with it.
Dude, it's not as bad as me at Christmas. The last year. It wasn't this year. I didn't do it. Last year I did it. We were my sister's boyfriend. His name is Alec.
Okay.
Her ex that she dated way the fuck back in high school. Years ago.
Right.
His name was John.
But like you haven't been around her for that since then, probably.
Not a
because you've
lot.
been out of the house.
And I've met Alec a few times, but like last year at Christmas, we were talking about something, and I'm like, I'm just goofing around. And I made a comment, and it's like, and I mean to say, yeah, Alec's got my back, and I say, John's got my back, and then I go, just kidding, no, he doesn't, not anymore. Fuck that up.
Whoops.
Sorry, John.
Yeah, well, when I was with my sister in North Carolina, I called her Katie like a dozen times. And then for the last week, I keep calling Katie Aaron. I'm like, God damn it.
It's not as bad as when I called my wife, my ex's name. That didn't go over well at all.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that, thankfully.
I've done that too many times.
I don't have like any long-term exes that were recent to Katie.
The worst
To mix
part.
that
The
up.
worst part is that it had like the last time I think I did it. There's like no reason for it
Right.
because I hadn't talked.
No, your brain's just dumb.
Yeah, like, I hadn't talked to
Yeah.
her in years.
You're just like, glitch.
Yep. Apparently, we were going to fight today.
Yeah.
Got it. Great. Thanks.
Your brain
Thanks,
woke up
brain.
and chose violence. That's exactly what happened.
It got it.
Yeah.
But no. Speaking of new technology, I was driving my dad's. I want to say it's 2018, 2019. It's a GMC Sierra.
Yeah.
Something.
Fancy.
Not a high country, but it's one of the nicer ones.
Right.
And so it's like kind of like basically the same as mine, but it has all the bells and whistles that mine doesn't.
Yeah.
So his has the tells you when it's not adaptive cruise or any of that, but it tells you when you're drifting away from the center of the line.
So Dalton's will like buzz your butt
Yep.
on the side you're drifting towards. So like if you're kind of wandering towards the left lane,
It'll.
your left butt cheek will vibrate.
Yep.
Is that what it does?
No, Jess's sister-in-law has that in her Suburban.
Okay.
But the GMC will like correct it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But the weird thing was because I took my hands off the wheel just to kind of see what it was going to do because it kind of tested.
Well,
it.
that's what Aaron kept telling me. You could take your hands off the wheel. I'm like, because I shut lane keep assist off.
Yep.
There's just a little switch on the steering wheel. Like, nope. I can only handle so many new technologies at a time. We're not even going to touch this until I get used to this adaptive cruise, which I never did in the 3 hours I drove it. So I shut it off. She's like, you can take your hands off the wheel practically. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it.
No, but my dad doesn't have like Super Cruise or any of that stuff. It's just the...
Apparently that Super Cruise is bitchin'.
It's really good.
It's like one of the best ones.
But this just has the quick check to make sure, and it'll like push you back. So I took my hand off the wheel just to watch what it would do.
Yeah.
And I creep a little bit to the right, and all of a sudden it like overcorrects to the left, and I'm like aiming to the other lane. Yeah. The thing pops up on the screen that says "Take the wheel." my bad. So it's just funny that it assumes that it has a little bit resistance because it assumes that you're holding the wheel, and then all of a sudden it just shoots you into the other lane. Yeah. I'm assuming that's not how you're supposed to use it. The
Sorrento, if you were wandering a little more than it thought you should, because obviously it's still monitoring you.
Of course,
it would go. There would be a little, it'd go ding, and a little thing would pop up on the screen that says, maybe you should take a break. And it had a picture of a coffee cup. Like, fuck you, Kia.
Water Joe.
Don't tell me how to live my life. I don't have time to take a break. I got to catch this flight.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
New technology, man.
So, I don't know. Other than that, it was just some car. Like
it's just a car.
It's not remarkable in any way.
No. Its looks aren't remarkable.
No.
It's a Kia.
It could be any crossover SUV.
They're all the same.
Which we've covered that sort of thing at great length in the past, but like it wasn't fun and sporty. It wasn't clever. It wasn't interesting. It was just some car with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and a really good safety rating. So my sister bought it.
Is it comfortable?
Once I figured out that because I don't like a bunch of lumbar support, like forward.
Yeah.
A lot of people they want that like way out there on their lower back, right? Like I hate that.
Okay.
I want that all the way back.
No support.
No support.
Okay.
No lower back support.
Okay.
I want it at the same vertical plane as my shoulders.
Okay.
My little sister does not feel that way about it.
Okay, so first thing you do is you jump in.
And so but it took me like an hour and a half to realize that that's why I was so freaking uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm like,
what is going on?
What is wrong with this thing? And so when I fixed that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, this is better. But like it rides fine. It's quiet enough. Like it's not a 90s Kia that's just ungodly loud and wind noisy and terrible. It's just some car. And like if you have a wife and in my opinion a kid, and you need some vehicle and you want a car that has a really good warranty, like that's a perfectly reasonable place to be.
I think they're reasonably priced.
I think that it was...
I'm not saying they're cheap.
I mean, it was certainly... Yeah. It was certainly not like too small, but a minivan, like a Chrysler Pacifica hybrid, does not have that much different a footprint.
No.
And I am certain is more roomy inside than that was.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
just the way they use the square footage.
Yeah, I just if you have anything more than one kid and you're not buying a minivan, then I think you're doing it wrong. And I will stand by that. Problem is that like nobody makes minivans anymore.
Hey, I think
Ford doesn't make them. Chevy doesn't make one. GM doesn't make one.
Honda and Toyota.
Honda, I think Toyota still does.
Sienna.
I think Toyota still makes the Sienna, the Odyssey,
yep,
and the Chrysler Pacifica. I don't think Nissan has a Quest anymore.
I have no idea.
Pretty sure they
just got the box fans. I see those.
Right.
But that's
NV 2500s.
Yeah,
that's up.
Yeah, that's totally
those
different.
are like light duty commercial vans.
Right.
But I don't think they sell a minivan anymore. I think I've also gone to straight crossover SUVs. So
yeah,
the minivan market is lackluster at best. I mean, that being said, if I was going to buy a brand new vehicle today for Katie, I would go and buy her a Chrysler Pacifica. They're really, really nice.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
You get them with like a really sporty red interior,
I hate
which
that
is
interior.
god awful and dumb.
Terrible.
And like so Fast and the Furious
we
that I come back around to kind of wanting it.
We talked about that.
Yeah,
when
we did at some point. I don't know why.
Oh, look at that. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. It knew
weird.
what I was looking for.
Weird. It's like it's listening. Yeah, the red interiors is brutally red, and like totally. But I kind of like.
So
I
obnoxious.
don't like red interior cars, but I kind of want it. I like don't totally.
It helps that there's a lot of black everywhere else.
I don't hate it as much as I should.
I will stand on that ledge with you and say I don't hate it as much as I should.
Right.
I think
don't know.
It helps that the entire seat isn't red. Just the
If I was
just the face of it.
standing next to it, I don't know if I would buy it. But I don't hate it as much.
It wouldn't
as I
dissuade
should.
you from buying it.
No. If that was the only one on the lot, I'd drive it home that day. But if there were two on the lot, I can't promise that's the one I'd buy. But like, if it was that one or one with a tan interior, going home with the red one.
Yeah.
But if it's black or charcoal gray, that makes it a little bit harder for me to make that decision.
Yeah. If I have a choice, it's all black interior all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Probably.
With maybe some like silver accent pieces. That's
Carbon
it.
fiber.
I'll allow it. But like, silver is it. That's it. That's all I want.
So, I don't know. That's New Car Talk from 1010's podcast.
New car reviews. That's what you come here for.
Yeah, sort of.
Newish.
It gets really good gas mileage for what it is.
That
Like the hybrid
mid-30s
system, the hybrid system works really well. It's very impressive. Like for a vehicle that's not exactly small, and I know that like, I mean, the extent of my crossover SUV experience is your RAV, which was god awful.
That is probably the worst riding vehicle I've ever been in.
Well, okay, but I mean
it's
like
nice.
gas mileage wise specifically, like economy, it was not good.
Terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible. And then we had that ECU went out on it, so we got a new ECU or a flash ECU or whatever, and that made it better. But it was still terrible.
Like
and it had
low 20s.
Yeah, and it was like a terribly small tank, like a 12-gallon tank.
12 gallon. We stopped so much. It was like
Driving to Detroit,
was it even no, it was like barely 300 miles.
It wasn't even. We'd stop every
Like
250.
250?
We'd stop every 250. I go way longer with a truck and trailer than I
was
ever
gonna
did in
say,
the RAV.
Dalton's high country with the stacker, it
Gets better.
farther distance at least.
Yeah, it uses more, but
Oh, way more. But it's the distance is way better. But like there's that, and then your Rogue,
yep.
which wasn't bad, but it wasn't mid-30s.
Oh God, no. No, it was probably like mid-20s.
Right. And then Katie's mom had an Equinox, which was also basically like the Rogue.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I guess some people would make the argument my Blazer, which is the worst. Like 15 to 17 on a good day. So like, maybe my needle's not exactly where it should be, but like it seemed to me the mid-30s was pretty impressive.
For the size of the vehicle,
Right. My van doesn't get that.
No.
For sure.
So the Edge ain't getting that.
20s, but not 30s. So
Yeah, no.
that's pretty good.
I'd say so.
So
This new car talk is brought to you by Petrobox. MyPetrobox.com. If you need to get a Christmas present because you realized that it was Christmas last week and you forgot, Petrobox has gift cards. They also have a store that you could use the code TGP15 and get 50% off everything in the store. And if you want to sign up for the subscription box, that code works for your first box as well. So you can get really cool shit.
you could get your dog a Christmas present too.
Yeah, collars, leashes, and that shows up in your box, which will show up at your house once a month if you sign up. And then you'll automatically are entered into a free set of Rotiform wheels.
Double hell yeah.
Which is the best odds you'll ever get at a free set of Rotiform wheels. That's mypetrobox.com. Use the code TTP15. I actually spent my own money to get Petrobox. I used our code to give presents this year.
Nice. We made the joke at PRI. John had told me how many times the code has been used.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say that number.
That's fine.
But then I said, but is 2 less than that number all Robbie? Because that doesn't count.
It counts. If the code gets used, it counts.
He goes, no, it's not quite that bad.
I've only used it a couple times.
So, anyway. Let's talk about the stuff people actually come here to listen to us.
Yeah, I got a present.
Ramble on. That's right. Yeah, you
I
do.
got a cool present.
I get fucking
You get
a
seltzer,
12-pack of seltzer.
You get a seltzer water, and I get a.
You get a sweet dinosaur hat.
No, it's a Jurassic Park hat from 1993.
It's a dinosaur hat, Robbie.
Whatever.
What is this team?
I think
Jurassic Park team. Like, is that the hat that some fry cook wore?
I think that these were.
Like, I'm a member of the McDonald's team.
It's got a McDonald's logo on the back, and the
Yeah.
best I could decipher was that this hat was part of the McDonald's advertising campaign. So all the people in McDonald's wore these, so they were on the Jurassic Park team in '93 when the movie came out.
Okay.
But I didn't. It doesn't have McDonald's on the front;
It's
just has
not
it
all
on the back.
sweaty and gross, though.
No,
Like,
not really.
looks nice.
It looks good.
Yeah.
So this is from Dallas. You might have seen him comment on things in the group.
Long time listener.
Long time listener, and he was in town for the
He's
holidays.
originally from this area.
Yeah, so he messaged us and said, "Hey, what's an address I could drop something off or mail it to?" And I just gave him my address, and he put this in my mailbox. And I got home, and I was like, "That's actually a really thoughtful gift. I genuinely appreciate
normally we
that."
get like this garbage water or that garbage water.
With that shirt you're wearing,
my strange shirt.
LaCroix boy.
Yes, I'm wearing one of the shirts that was given to me. I figured, like, whatever, the water thing, it's funny, I'll wear it. Or, like, remember that fucking salt candy?
That was
The radial podcast?
The podcast wars.
Yeah, that was hot garbage.
Yeah, but we got
Didn't
it
we
back.
get, like, octopus jerky from Jake or something like that once?
I thought that came from them as well, because I sent them shark jerky and durian candy.
I feel like
And then they gave us the
octopus
ultras.
jerky came
Yeah.
from Jake.
It was not good.
It was bad.
Fish jerky
And
is
then
not where it's at.
Dallas coming through with something like
Really nice.
thoughtful and meaningful and
I do. I like that.
cool. Like, it's super cool.
I like original
I'm
Jurassic
not
Park
even like a
memorabilia.
Jurassic Park guy, but that's super cool.
I am a Jurassic Park guy, so this is going to go sit on my bookshelf next to my Jurassic Park
Mad
book.
internet points.
Yep, I like it a lot.
Listener of the month.
Yes, listener of the month.
Listener of the year. It's the end of the year, Robbie.
Yep, listener of the year is
Throwing
Dallas.
it out there. Like,
Yep.
there's no way that anyone can come through between now and the time this year ends and beat that.
Yep.
For sure.
So take that, all you other listeners. Dallas.
2022 starts now.
Yep, Dallas came in
do
late
this.
and just stole the show.
Boom. Where are we starting here? Should I talk about my acquisition?
I have less to talk about, so let's just talk about my stuff right away.
I only have one thing to talk about.
Okay.
I guess my dad.
Yeah, so you
has
got
an
two. I thought
acquisition.
you had two things.
My dad does have an acquisition. I don't have a lot to say about that yet because I don't know that much about
Okay.
it. But let's talk about the wind tunnel because it's fucking hilarious.
All right, I like it.
So my dad's like literally next door neighbor. Like, they share the driveway.
Okay.
He just
Buys
he just does stuff.
Okay.
Right? Like, I think he's the custodian at the local high school, but also he just does stuff to make money.
If it makes money, it makes sense. It makes dollars. It makes sense.
Right.
He's that guy.
Yeah. So, like, he's always got like this small junkyard of stuff. And my dad, like, if he has some scrap metal, he'll just take it and throw it on the pile so he doesn't have to deal with it anymore.
I get it.
And so I show up there, and this, of all things, is sitting there. So he has a Aerostream wind tunnel.
Okay.
So it's a full, like, lift drag testing wind tunnel. Like, it has a gauge on it
Yep.
that shows wind speed. It goes up to 40 miles an hour.
So it's got like a fan on the front.
So it's got a fan on the front. The cage there, that if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see the picture. There's a cage on the front. It pulls air through it and blows it out the back.
Okay.
And there's he got it from the high school. From the local high school. He's the custodian. They were just throwing it away, so he threw it away in the back of his truck because it's all metal.
And it functions.
Yeah, I plugged it in. It runs.
Oh yeah.
So
Can't throw that away.
yeah, I offered him. I was like, I'll buy that from you, and he's like, just take it. And I was like, I'm not going
I'll give you money.
Right. So I gave my dad $20 to give to him. What happened to it? Nobody can say. But yeah, so it functions well. it's got an 8x8x12 space in the middle that you lift this Lexan lid, and it's 8x8x12 inside of there. And that's where the thing goes.
So you can do like scale model.
Right, scale models of full cars or of aerofoils or whatever.
Yep.
Right, and then there's 2 gauges on there. They're both in voltage in volts DC, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, they're both in volts DC, so I don't know like what that converts to. But the one on the left is wind speed.
Okay.
And it says on there that it goes up to 40 miles an hour wind speed. So I'm assuming that
it's like a scale.
So I'm assuming pegged on the voltage meter is 40 miles an hour. And then the other one sits in the middle, and it could go positive or negative. So I assume that's lift drag.
Yep, which makes sense.
And I don't know how much that correlates to. So the thing that it's missing, the thing that it needs that I don't have, there's a base that goes inside of it that the thing attaches to, whatever it is you're testing will attach to.
Oh, like just like the platform.
Just like a little platform, right? And then it will like lift or push down on it to give you your lift or downforce reading. That is missing.
I'm sure you can't just like buy one either.
No.
Or so you can 3D print one.
This is specifically for like high school like tech labs.
Yeah, it's a teaching tool.
It's a teaching tool, not a like race car shop testing item.
You could,
which doesn't mean I can't use it that way.
You could definitely utilize it that way.
I'm absolutely going to try to, because it's hilarious to me.
So we got some models we could put in there just to
but
see.
I think I can make it work. Like it looks really simple, but I'm gonna have to take it apart to put that to make it work, because you can see like down inside the hole in the floor area. You can see down inside there, and I can see there's set screws.
Right.
And you can't get to them from, like, you got to take the thing apart. So I'm gonna have to take it apart, figure out how I want to do it, make that thing, and then set it in there, and then put it all back together again.
Okay.
Is really what it boils down to. Yeah. I don't think it'll be too bad though.
Does it have like a smoke stream?
No, I have to. But I figured I can buy that.
Yeah,
that can't be that hard.
No,
I haven't looked, but I'm sure there's like a smoke machine with a wand.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty easy to get.
That's got to be a thing you could buy, I figure.
Or you can modify a party smoke machine.
Right.
Can't be that expensive.
No, I can figure something out. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be hilarious. It's been suggested to me, and I kind of really love the idea. It's super funny. But it's been suggested to me that, so like, I know you've made fun of me for watching this in the past, but like there's that hydraulic press video channel where they just crush random shit with a hydraulic, like a 20-ton press.
The reason I say anything is because I'm embarrassed at how many hours I've spent watching it myself.
Right? Dude, it's the best.
I have watched many a video of things being smashed with the press.
I guess it's either like, yep, that's exactly what I expected, or like, holy shit, that's not what I expected.
That was exciting.
Yeah, it's all about the build-up, though.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So it's been suggested that I do those type of videos, but for
like random aerodynamic winds.
Just see how aerodynamic random items are. And I find this to be incredibly intriguing and hilarious. It's been suggested already that I do a New Balance shoe.
Yes.
Which obviously this makes sense.
Yeah.
And then someone also asked for the aerodynamic efficiency of a pair, which
we need to know now.
Yeah, now I need to know.
I like it.
You know, there's like that CFD picture of a cow.
Yes.
I want to do that in real life with things.
We could do that. I will. If you film it, I will upload it.
I think it's hilarious. So I got to get it all working. It needs to be torn apart because there is some stuff. So there's a screen, obviously in front of the fan, and then there's the fan, and then there's another screen at the tapered part of the throat where you open up the Lexan lid. Yep. And there is, as high schooler kids are known to do, there are things between those two screens, and it sounds like there's a whole bunch of gravel.
Oh shoot.
And the way that the way that thing is tapered and designed, it kind of makes a swirl.
Yep.
And so like you can turn that on and you can stick your head in the hole where the thing you're testing should be, and you can look and you can see stuff like spinning around around the throat of this wind tunnel. So that's I can't get it out.
Get all that junk.
Like I was shaking it back and forth, couldn't get it out. So it's got to be torn apart just to get that stuff out of there. And then I got to figure out how to build the platform that actually measures it. And then it did come with a little box that is supposed to hook up to the computer. And I'm sure there's some sort of software that you can get. Yep. So I'm going to see if I can try and find that software, find some information on it.
I'm sure you could put like some sensors in there and whatnot too.
Yeah. And then I don't know if it's actually for this, or if it was for something else and it's just made by the same company, but I also got an earthquake simulator.
Wait, that's the earthquake simulator is a totally separate thing?
Yeah, it's a box. It's a separate box.
That's awesome.
And I think that it mounts to the wind tunnel, but also it might be something totally separate. It might just be made by the same
company.
Educational company.
That's awesome.
And then he also gave me a 200 megahertz sine wave generator.
Very important.
Which, I mean, in college I would have used all the time. Now I don't really need, but it's kind of funny. So
we're gonna have a YouTube video where you and I make things out of toothpicks and then we test it on the earthquake simulator.
I haven't plugged this. So that the backside of the plug-in for that looks. It's probably not proprietary, but it's a type of plug I've never seen before.
Okay.
And that same plug is on the backside of the control panel on the wind tunnel. Right. But also, I think that is the port that I plug in to go to the module that will then go to the computer. Okay. I think that little module is whatever that plug is to a serial adapter, and then you have like a serial plug out to a computer. So I'll have to get a serial to USB adapter to make that work, if I can even find the software for it.
Right.
So,
or we can use it as a shaker table and we can just do experiments.
Well, I am 100% certain that I could open this thing up, take this to Don's house. Don and I could open this up, and we could unsolder the power connector and solder on something that's more common. And then I can put it back together, and we can have an earthquake shaker table.
Love it.
Which I have zero use for beyond it's hilarious, and I want to do it now.
Yeah, you don't need any more reason beyond that to have an earthquake simulator.
Not generally speaking, no.
No. If someone ever asks you why you have an earthquake simulator, you simply respond with, because I wanted one.
So when I shared this to the group that you and I are in on Facebook Messenger, and I also shared this to the Sunday Cup chat.
Yep.
Where it kind of exploded, and Scott Robertson.
Oh, he wants to do all sorts of CFD with it.
Really, really wants it.
Oh yeah, he'll get real crazy with Arrow.
And he was like, whatever you buy it for, I'll buy it from you. Like, as long as it's reasonable, right?
Of course.
And I was like, look, man, if you really genuinely have a use for it, I would be more than happy to let you have it, but I want it back. I would prefer to retain ownership of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So in my Google searches of this thing, trying to figure out as much information as I could about it, I did find an eBay listing for one with a buy it now only option of $1,495. Oh. And my dad's like, and you're keeping it? Why? And I was
it's not
like,
selling for $1,400. There's just one available.
So I also found a listing on a government website auction, a government auction website where one sold for $660.
Still pretty good.
And they wouldn't ship it.
Oh.
So
it's kind of awkward to ship. You could ship it, but it costs like $100.
Yeah. I'm also really not that interested in selling it, which is dumb because I'll probably never actually do anything with it. But that's not the point.
No, that's not the point. It's cool.
My dad just thinks I need to sell it.
I'd say give it a college effort into doing something fun with it.
Yeah.
And then if you realize that you're not going to do anything fun with it, then sell it to Scott for $1,400.
I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be fun. So
yeah. Plus Scott said you'd buy it for $1,400.
That's what I heard. Exactly. That's exactly how that goes. So
no, it's fun, man.
Yeah. Do you want to go, or should I finish off what I got?
I can go.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
I've
things.
The Z drove under its own power.
Yes. So,
And by that, I mean I backed it off.
it's been a while since we've talked about the Z. You were having transmission troubles at the end of the season.
Yep. So I backed it off the lift and then parked it next to the lift. That's all the further it went.
Okay, so it was fifth gear that was broken?
Yeah, so I think what happened was the ID of the synchro wore out, not the teeth.
Right.
So when I would go into fifth gear, the synchro would basically bottom on the gear, and then I would force it in. And when I would do that, it would stress the rod and the aluminum fork, and it would crack the fork. So it has always done this. So the first race I did in GLTC, I broke the fork, and I wouldn't shift into fifth and sixth anymore.
Right.
So then I replaced the fork and the rod because apparently, the rod's only $20, and it was just at Hummel's Nissan. I went and got it.
Kind of, but okay.
So I fixed it. But like when I looked at the synchro, I was like, this thing looks fine. It's not the synchro. It must have just been the bad fork. Something else must have been going on. And I fixed it. And then I went to the next race, and it turns out I didn't fix it.
Right.
And it did the same grinding.
Right.
But for some reason, I finished the entire season. But I'm 99% certain I broke that fork the very first race.
Right.
But for some reason, it still allowed me to shift to fifth and sixth the whole season.
Okay.
But it was in much worse condition than it was the first time it broke. Like it was like that piece that broke went through like all the gears everywhere. Like it was just aluminum everywhere.
Oh God. Yikes.
But it was so it was all shredded in the bottom.
Yikes.
But it was fine. And then so I replaced the synchro, the shift fork, and the rod again because I couldn't convince myself that the rod wasn't slightly bowed. It probably wasn't, but for $23,
you're there. You'd be real pissed if you had to pull it back out because
it was slightly bowed.
Crap.
Yep. So I replaced that and got it back together, and everything's working good. The biggest issue was that they shipped me the parts like right away.
Yep.
And then it got lost in Arkansas.
That's right.
Like the box just gone.
We had you convinced that it got thrown into a ditch.
Yeah, because that was in Alabama.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was in Alabama.
Yeah, but that was like the same day.
Yeah. That's super funny.
But then they had to like order parts. So the Nissan dealer out of Florida that I ordered these parts from had to order it from Nissan wherever, and it took like 3 weeks to get them there.
Right.
And then it took them another fucking week to ship them to me. Not counting the transit time. I'm talking like they had the parts in hand.
Right. Sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Waiting. And I called them every fucking day. And I was like, hey, what are we waiting on? I think we were seriously waiting on like the pins. Like just the pins to hold the fork in.
Yeah.
That's all we were waiting on.
Which you probably have.
I did. But I ordered new ones anyways.
Right.
Because you're supposed to replace them.
Yeah.
So we waited.
I mean, it's not like they had any mileage on them. They probably would have been fine.
They would have been fine. But yeah, so I waited for like an extra week. He's like, we'll ship it out tomorrow. It was like on Wednesday. It shipped next Monday. I was like, come on. So I'm not ordering parts from them again. I'll just order them from Hummel's here in town and say, hey, this is what I need. So I got that back together. Engines all back together. I guess I wasn't really technically a part, but I got all the suspensions all done. It needs an alignment because everything's basically just finger tight at this point. Eyeballed. Brakes are done. So yeah, the only thing I did today was that I put a second fuel gauge in. So if anyone looks at my car and they're confused as to why I have two fuel gauges.
Oh, I remember that now.
Once for each saddle.
Yeah, because you have a saddle tank. That was a thing you had to deal with.
Because the driver's side had like the big bulky fuel pump and like the collector and all that stuff. So I didn't mess with it. And I just put the gauge on the passenger side because all it had is like a pump that sends it over.
Right.
So I put a gauge in there. That doesn't really work because it just tells me what's on the passenger side, which is always feeding into the driver's side, which theoretically, if it should be a full tank plus the other side.
Right.
And it's not quite that consistent.
Right.
So now I have two fuel gauges because it was cheaper to do that than it was to replace the $160 a piece senders from either side from Nissan.
Is that?
And it's a known failure point.
I almost feel like that's going to confuse you just as much.
I'm not endurance racing with it. I just need to know what's ballpark where it's at before I race.
I suppose. Like
I'm not doing math in my head to be like, okay, I need half a tank here and half, it's because I was always guessing.
Yet, Robbie.
I don't plan on endurance. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I don't plan on endurance racing that car.
Let's do some champ car races next year.
All right.
You know what you need, Robbie?
More racing.
More racing.
Yes. You know what's good for my marriage? More racing.
Our marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna be great.
More events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what my employment wants as well.
Yep. That'll work out. Yeah. So the Z is basically back together.
Good.
Yeah. I realized that I broke one of the downpipe flexi parts, so I got to replace that. But
Whatever.
no big deal. Just an exhaust leak. But
Yeah.
I'm way ahead of schedule because I don't plan on being on track with that car till Heartland Park, Grid Life, maybe. It's
It'll be on track before then, Robbie. You know that you'll get the itch and something will go not quite as planned with the NPO1, and you'll have a weekend where you just want to do something, and it'll be at God knows where.
That's true. But so it's ready. There's a few things I want to do, but yeah, it's back together. I need a tune, obviously.
Right.
There's a place in Kansas City that'll do it. Otherwise, I'll take it to excessive.
There you go.
So yeah, just been tinkering on that. But one other thing that I did, we'll talk about it.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe this
So-
happened. Yeah.
I bought a Focus,
You did buy a Focus.
and in you never would have thought that I would buy a Focus.
No, that's not. An automatic Focus is not the first thing that I would
No.
peg you as a purchaser of.
I was genuinely excited about it. I bought it from this guy.
I had a Focus.
You had a Focus,
and I'm genuinely excited that it's gone.
yeah. So it's just weird how that worked out.
It's very interesting.
You
isn't
sold a Focus, and I bought a Focus.
it? Completely unrelated.
No, it's like
Obviously.
you sold it to some sucker, and
Yeah,
I
probably.
and I bought a Ford Focus because I just needed a daily driver.
I definitely sold it to a sucker.
That's for sure. What an idiot.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I got this Focus. Bought it sight unseen.
I mean, sure.
I hadn't seen it in years.
Okay, that's fair.
I just took the seller at his word.
That's not a good idea. It's a really bad idea. I know the seller, and he's untrustworthy at best.
I trusted him. I gave him. I paid cash.
That's true.
Cash is king.
True.
Adam.
Cash is king, right?
Cash is king.
Fuck the man.
Yep. Can't track my cash. Take that, government. So I bought it. Brought it home. It drove onto my trailer.
It fires right up.
Fires right up. Has a vacuum leak somewhere. Probably.
Yes, it does. Does it still idle like way dumb high?
Until it gets to operating temperature.
Okay.
Yep. So
It used to idle way higher. So, for those not in the know, I had this Focus. There was one day I was driving it home from work, and all of a sudden it just died on me.
Yep.
Just dead. And, of course, it was the coldest day of the year. It was like negative 44 because
Was
we
this
live
last
in
year or
Iowa.
the year before?
No, it was like fucking 2, if not 3 years ago.
I remember it because I wasn't home.
It was a really long time ago.
Yeah, because it was on the I-80 interchange.
Michael was still a podcast member. So,
Oh, yeah.
and this is we've been doing this for
2 years.
basically 2 years now. Yeah, 2 PRI. Well, okay,
That shit doesn't count. But
right. But yeah, it's been 2 full years. So this thing's been dead for 3 years
yes.
because it happened in the winter.
Yes.
So it's been sitting in my, well, it hasn't been sitting in my driveway for 3 years. But anyway, so it blew up. It went bluey. Katie's mom's, at the time, boyfriend, now husband, decided he was going to fix it up and drive it to work. And so he just took it.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Perfect.
He put a motor in it.
Yes, he did.
He is not what I would call a mechanic
Okay.
in any way, shape, or form. And he's also what I would call a man who will do the wrong thing just to do something.
Okay. Oh, so a decision is better than no decision? That
Right.
type of situation?
Yeah. And like, he lives in a very, very small town that is at least a 30-minute drive to a parts store.
Ooh.
So, like, if he needs a thing, but he doesn't want to drive to get it, he will figure out something else, even if it's the wrong thing.
Okay.
And plugging vacuum lines was a perfectly reasonable thing in his mind.
That's why it idles at 2,500 until it gets to
It
operating
used
temp.
to idle. It used to idle all the time at like 4,500 RPM, and like you had to ride the brake to keep the car from speeding in town.
That's hilarious.
And I fixed that problem.
Yes.
Because it turns out that one of the things that he plugged was the vacuum line to the idle air control valve, which is what controls the idle speed of the car.
Yes, kind of important.
Yeah. So I fixed a bunch of that stuff. And that was after I figured out the starting issue.
Yep.
Because remember that whole ordeal? It turned out to be the neutral safety switch had died. And then we fixed that. And that, because, okay, so he fixed it. And then I don't remember. For some reason, I ended up with it back again. Katie drove it for like 2 or 3 days. And then I drove it once, came home, and then went to start it again, and it would never start again. It never started after that.
Okay.
And then I got it started after it sat in my driveway for like 6 months again because I just did not care about it. Replaced the neutral safety switch. We got it running. That was when the high idle issues became prominent. I fixed those issues, and now where it sits is that it won't shift into overdrive.
Right.
Ever?
So
Okay, at one point it would, but not consistently.
correct. That was before.
But now it won't ever.
No, so if I go, so
Okay.
what happens is I'll drive it, no check engine light, no nothing.
Nope.
No, it's fine.
Yep.
I was a little high, but it's fine.
Right.
As soon as you get above like 15 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour, the overdrive off light will start flashing orange at you.
Yeah.
And then your check
I
engine
remember
light
that
comes on. And this is assuming after I've cleared codes. If I haven't cleared codes, the check engine light stays on.
now. Okay.
And it kicks out a P07715 code, which is a TSS sensor circuit failure.
So there's 2 sensors on the transmission. One of them is on the top underneath the battery tray. It's really hard to get
That's
to.
the TSS.
For some reason, when I was troubleshooting this, I identified it as being the sensor that is on the back and bottom side of the transmission,
Okay.
which is actually a sensor in fluid.
Yes.
And I didn't know that.
You learned that the hard way.
And I learned that the hard way when I spilled like 4 quarts of transmission fluid on my driveway,
Yep.
which was super awesome.
Yep.
So that both of those sensors have been replaced already.
Okay.
I replaced both of them. Didn't fix the problem.
Nope.
I brought it to a local mechanic shop because I didn't know what I was supposed to do from here. I'm 98% certain that that is the original transmission to the car,
Yes.
which means it should have worked fine because all he did was put an engine in it.
Yep.
And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. The mechanic shop told me that a wire harness was pinched between the bell housing and the engine,
Yep.
and that they fixed it.
Okay.
And when I drove it home, it worked fine. And then I drove it to work 2 or 3 days, and then all of a sudden it started acting up again. And
Yep.
that's where I was at with
And
it.
it's kind of pointing towards that it's a PCM short. Somewhere.
Okay.
Based on the diagnostics from the factory service manual.
Okay. Did you find any repair in the wiring harness?
No.
Because I couldn't either.
I also couldn't find any broken wires because I traced it all the way back.
So they told me it was a wire that was near that sensor underneath the battery tray. That there was some of the harness was pinched in between the transmission and the engine block there.
There was a couple that you could see had been pinched or frayed, but that had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
So unless it's shorted in the PCM and then failing this circuit for some reason, which would make any sense.
I don't fucking know, man.
I haven't done a whole lot of digging. I've done some diagnostic stuff. I had an OEM sensor coming just so I can.
Yeah, I bought a Rock Auto sensor.
So for $8, I'm going to rule that out.
Right.
So I got a Mastercraft or whatever the Ford.
I didn't take it all the way as far apart as I probably could or should have to replace that sensor. And I know I fought with that, with the boot that clips onto the top of the sensor.
Uh-huh.
And I wouldn't promise you that I didn't fuck something up when I did that.
I checked the harness, and the harness checked fine.
Uh-huh.
Like there's no shorts to power, there's no shorts to ground. So if it's not the sensor, it's probably the PCM. So and I can send that off to get it repaired. So I'm hoping I can do a little bit more diagnostic work before I have to do that.
Right.
But that's kind of the next step I'm at, based on where I'm. If the sensor doesn't fix it, and I can't find a logical reason why it's doing this, it's pointing towards a PCM based on the diagnostic table from.
I just don't understand why that would have gone bad in the middle there.
No, it wouldn't make any sense.
So, and then apparently that engine that he bought had been dropped.
Yep. So I replaced the oil pan.
How annoying was that?
It wasn't too bad.
No?
No, because I
didn't know, like, with the cross member underneath it, like, if that
drops right down.
Okay.
No, because it's got, like, it's kind of weird because it's part of the belt. Like, the bell housing bolts to a couple, like, 4 different spots on it, and then the rest just bolt in like a regular oil pan, and it just drops right down.
Huh.
Yeah, it had clearly been curbed or dropped or something because it was leaking, and you didn't.
I didn't drive it enough to ever have that.
You never noticed it until it got up to like operating temp, and then you would park it, or I would park it, and then I'd come back hours later, and then there's a puddle below it.
Well, so here's a fun fact, Robbie. I had a sneaking suspicion that it had an oil leak, but it's very hard to identify that on my driveway.
It wasn't hard to identify after I drove it.
Well, what I'm saying is there's a lot of oil on my driveway through the years.
It happens.
And it's much better these days, honestly.
Yeah.
Like most of the things that I mean, the truck left its toll.
It happened. Yep.
Many a place. So, and the Blazer for a while too, but I got that fixed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no doubt in my mind that leaks oil.
Yeah. It doesn't anymore. I fixed that.
Good.
So now I just got.
Glad that wasn't a nightmare. Yep. That you didn't have to like pull the engine or something dumb because a cross member was in the way or something.
No, it was surprisingly easy. I didn't like. I was expecting it to be a pain in the ass because it was just you just drop the pan and then you put an RTV gasket on and you just throw it right back up there. Because
this is your first front wheel drive experience.
Yes.
If you get to the point where you need to do something that requires you to raise the engine or anything like that, I do have one of those transverse engine.
Oh, that'd be helpful.
That things that like spans from fender to fender.
Yes.
And sits there, and then you can attach the engine to it and crank it up and down.
Okay. Hopefully, I don't have to do that.
So
but
if it does, and I do own one of those because I needed it to do the timing belt in the Audi because you had to pull the motor mount.
Yep. Fun.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to continue diagnosing that, but other than that, it is exactly what I wanted from a daily driver.
It's not like it's not in that worst shape.
No.
Like it's in decent shape. It's an 05.
Yes.
It's got a decent number of miles on it, but like it's fine.
Yeah. I'm not asking it to drive me to New York and back twice a month.
I mean, the couple things that I wouldn't worry about it for you, but for Katie was not. I felt very uncomfortable with it.
Uh-huh.
In rain, it will lift off oversteer on the interstate.
I believe that.
In the rain.
Yeah.
It is a very tail-happy car.
And
I don't know if it's just
something,
that way or if
goofy.
there's something like like bushings are wore out or like if it has like a front sway bar that's like completely disconnected or something like that. I don't know. It's always been that way.
Okay.
But like that thing will slide around a gravel corner with the best of them.
It's hard not to do that.
You drive it in real deep and you give it a little flick and you just lay into the throttle and oh my God,
just
dude.
drag it through the corner.
It shouldn't be as good as it is.
Yep.
And
it's hard not to drive it like an asshole. It's just so much fun.
It's kind of peppy. Like it sounds like you're going a million miles an hour.
It wants to.
And like the engine isn't the most boring thing in the world. And the steering feel is like shockingly good. Like it's actually kind of a fun car to drive. I could totally see why people turned the manual like SVTs into track cars.
Oh, for sure.
The car is a fun little chassis for a Ford.
Yeah. Jess was genuinely not thrilled about me buying this. Like, genuinely not happy. I didn't talk to her about it. I just said it was one of those things where she looked outside and realized the truck was hooked to the trailer and went, "What are you doing?"
Oh, no, it's something for Booney.
she knew better. I was like, well, I'm going to Adam's. I'm gonna get that Focus. I'm gonna go to this guy's house. I'm gonna get this Focus. And she goes, what do you mean? I was like, well, new daily driver. What's this gonna cost? I was like, well, not much.
Nothing, practically.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the cheapest car ever. And then I come home and I was like, Jess, it drove on the trailer. It's fine.
What do you want from me?
Yeah, it's a running and driving car.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it to go to the speed limit.
Has she ridden in it?
Oh, God, no.
Do you think she ever will?
Oh, God, no.
It'll be one of those things.
She's kind of come around to the idea of me driving it to and from work every day.
Like, I'm pretty sure the last dog we had when I was in high school,
Yep.
my dad just like acquired one day, and I'm pretty sure my mom was like so upset with it. We had that dog for 10 years.
Yep.
And I don't think she ever touched it on purpose. Like, is it going to be one of those deals?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, she'll be mad that if I park it in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was not thrilled that I got it. I was like, Jess, it's even if it blows up in like a week,
it's not unpresentable.
No, it's fine.
I mean, the hood's a slightly different color.
We could do something stupid with it.
Because I don't remember who crashed it. I'm pretty sure it was Katie. It might have been me, though. I don't remember. No, it was me. That was totally my fault.
What'd you do?
We were on Army Post Road here in Des Moines.
Yeah.
And I think Logan was in the backseat. He was like 1 or less.
Yeah.
And he was crying, and Katie was like trying to deal with it, and I was very distracted. And it was raining, and there was a truck in front of me, and I locked them up just right into their hitch, and there was absolutely no damage to their vehicle whatsoever. And so I was like, well,
crumpled your hood.
Thanks, bye. And that was the end of it.
That's good.
And so I think, Katie's now stepdad put a hood and a grill on it.
Yeah. They kind of fit. Fine.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Oh, and I replaced the headlights because one was broken. The light bulbs, just the bulbs. One was burned out.
Yeah.
That's fine. I used the eBay gift card.
Kind of hard to get out.
Kind of pain in the dick.
It's a real pain in the dick because I've replaced.
You want to know what makes it even a bigger pain in the dick? When you go to LEDs because they're like $20. Right. And then they have that extra little fan on the end.
Oh, God.
So that little extra room doesn't really work.
It was so frustrating. I remember replacing one. I think I replaced the driver's side.
That one was still good.
And I think I have the other one still. And
throw it away. Doesn't matter.
I struggled so much to replace the one. I was like, I'm not fucking doing the other side.
Well, the worst part was I get it done, and then I test it, and they had them wired backwards.
Oh, that's right.
So like the driver's side was a low beam, while the passenger side was a high beam.
Oh,
they were opposite of each other. The passenger side was correct, and so I just had to swap the terminals or whatever. But it was whatever. I had a really bad week with electronics, apparently, because Adam Jabay thinks that we have to have rain lights in our
race cars.
In our race cars, which he's probably not wrong. But so I order a brand new FIA rain light.
Yeah,
and it gets here, and I get the instructions, and it's pretty fucking straightforward. The white wire goes to ground, the black wire goes to the rain light switch, and the red wire goes to the brake light switch. If you want to use it as a brake light.
Right.
3 wires. Pretty fucking straightforward.
Yeah.
So I wired it in as you should. Get it all set up exactly how I want it. I spliced it into my brake lights. Got it wired to go to the switch so I can use it as a rain light. Got it grounded exactly as it should be.
Yep.
The only thing I didn't do was add a fuse because I'm an idiot.
I mean,
so then I go to use it, and now I don't have any brakes lights at all.
Oh, good.
So there's a short in the module.
Of course,
and it shorted out my everything. Like I completely lost everything.
Nice.
And guess what? Also is not fused. My brake light circuit in the 350Z. It goes through the ABS module.
Oh God.
Luckily, I don't use that, so I had to wire in the switch separately as just a switch now.
So are you using it as a brake light?
I was going to use it as a brake light and a rain light.
Okay, so then it would be on and it gets brighter when you push the brakes? Or when it's when it's on, it's not a brake light.
It works either as a brake light
Or a rain light.
or a rain light.
Okay.
So the switch would turn it on as a rain light.
Okay.
So I pulled it out. I fixed all the wiring in the car. So then I go and test it the exact same way they have shown in their instructions. Because like they have a picture of the rain light in a tub of water, and it's hooked up to a 9-volt battery. And you can see in the picture it's got the ground wire to the negative of the battery, and the red wire is to the positive of the 9-volt battery.
Really upsets me that they use 2 red leads, but okay.
Yeah.
2 red alligator leads, which is really upsetting.
Or that they use black, white, and red, and black isn't ground.
What?
Yeah, white is ground. Look on the instructions.
Fucking out of here, Robbie.
Black goes to the rain light switch.
No!
This is the instructions.
Those sons of bitches.
Red, brake light switch. Black, rain light switch. Shield, which is basically a white or gray wire. Ground. That is, you're seeing the same diagram I am.
Not okay with that.
I agree. And I wired it this exact way. I even tested it. So I did it. I have a battery sitting outside because I don't want my battery to freeze in my trailer, so I bring it in the garage.
Yeah.
So I go and connect it to the exact same way as it's shown in this picture, and only 3 rows of LEDs light up. It starts to sizzle and smoke.
Oh, no.
So it's got a short inside the brand new module.
Oh, no.
And the company I bought it from has ignored all 3 of my emails.
Weird.
So this is what I get for buying brand new shit. So I will call them actually tomorrow now that I think about it. Fucking annoyed. I mean, just something that should have been so simple.
Yeah.
It's 3.
Where are you putting it?
Right above my license plate.
Oh, okay.
So it's because I want to use my license plate still, and then just put it right above. That way, if I get bump drafted, it's not getting hit. That's kind of my thought process there.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like just something that should have been so easy.
Yeah.
And it turned into just like this gigantic pain in the ass.
Yep.
I mean, it's clearly a fault within the module. Like it shouldn't be smoking from the LEDs when it's hooked up exactly as shown in the 9-volt battery.
Right. I don't know, man.
Yep. Don't get it.
So.
Yeah. That's my mechanic troubles that I've been up to. I'll figure out the Focus eventually. The Z's way ahead of schedule.
All right.
Oh. We're working on the MPO1.
Okay.
So we got getting prepped. We got a race coming up.
Yeah,
soon.
you do.
Like
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
weeks.
It's the week after Coda.
Yep.
Otherwise, I would probably be going to that. But I can't.
Yeah, so we got we were working on wrapping it. Me and Booney spent basically all day yesterday wrapping it. I didn't take a picture apparently, or I didn't save the picture.
What are you wrapping it? Can we discuss that, or is that private? He posted a picture.
He did,
but it's not really. I can't tell.
I want to base what I'm going to say based on what he's posted.
That's fair. I get that.
Because I don't want to give anything away he doesn't want to share.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. So obviously based on his picture, the base color is white.
Yes, I knew. I could tell that.
And then he's got a livery that we're going to do.
Which means it's not Gulf liveried, which is really upsetting.
Nope, that was never an option. But he's got a plan.
It's always an option, Robbie.
But yeah, so he's got a plan for it, and we got the livery ready to go. So we got most of it wrapped, a good chunk of it wrapped yesterday. The plan is to have it wrapped before the weekend is over. So by the time you're listening to this, we should have the car wrapped. We have a list of things we need to have prepped before the first race, and so yeah, that'll be the main focus for the next 5 weeks.
You be working on it Saturday?
Yeah, we should.
I might hit you up. I think I'm going to be in Des Moines just doing stuff on Saturday.
Perfect. Yeah.
Weather permitting.
Of course.
Which sounds like maybe I won't be.
Yeah.
But I might hit you guys up because I want to come see this thing.
Yeah, I think the plan is to head over for sure tomorrow, which is Friday. And then I think maybe Saturday, and then Sunday I think was for sure. We were for sure doing something Sunday. So.
Okay. Yeah, my plans might get shifted to Saturday anyway.
Okay. Yeah, so we were working on that, getting a lot of progress. Weird how fast wrapping can go when you have 2 people. And you're not struggling by yourself.
And you're probably using better vinyl? Question mark?
Yeah, it's Avery. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little thicker, but it's
probably more forgiving.
It's definitely more forgiving. A lot easier to work with.
There's a lot of weird shapes on that car too, though, isn't there?
Yeah, we didn't even bother trying to do a bunch of like panels in one piece. We're just like, we're gonna make a seam here and we're gonna do a seam here because
fuck
it's
a race
that.
car. It's a race car.
Yep.
So I think it's got like a real carbon. It's probably not carbon, is it? But like a real
fiberglass.
diffuser and
Yep.
like
Everything's fiberglass.
that thing is.
It's so good.
That's cool.
Yep. So we
I
gotta
need to see this thing in real life.
get the seat molded. Get a lot of stuff reinforced because like the car's was never intended as an endurance car when I
Right.
first designed it. So
Right.
there's a lot of stuff.
It's a sprint racing car.
Yeah, so it
Sure.
needs some reinforcement on some stuff to make it last long endurance races. So,
Right.
yeah, we got a pretty decent list of things we need to get done. But yeah, first race should be coming up in about less than 2 months. Crunch time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's funny when like Booney and I are the same way. Like we're not chatty at all.
You guys just work.
We just work all fucking day. Like it's just like 10-second conversation.
Yeah.
Work. 10-second conversation. Work. It's just two dudes silently working for like 6 hours.
I'm totally not that guy.
And then he goes to me. He's like, How long do you want to do this?" I was like, "I don't know, man. We gotta get this wrapped." So I just keep going. He's like, "Man, I'm getting hungry." So we went and got pho.
Yeah.
I've never had pho.
You're right.
It's fucking good. My only complaint was that I ordered duck pho, and the duck had bones in it. It was kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, that would be difficult the way that you consume that.
Yeah, with chopsticks.
Because you can't like just pick it up and
So I'd pick it up and then
you can't eat it like a wing,
like a chick. I had to because
like a buffalo wing.
yeah. So I was disappointed. Like, I wanted duck meat. I didn't want.
Yeah,
I didn't want duck bones.
absolutely. You want duck meat?
It was delicious. Don't get me
I
wrong.
bet it was. That is something I would be okay with.
Yeah, pho.
I bet I would enjoy that much more than the place that you have drug me to with him.
Eatery A?
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to pho. I can't think of the number. It's a restaurant down by Tony Morrow's.
Right.
And yeah, they had Thai food, Chinese food, Vietnamese food. So I mean, there's a lot of options. It was good, really good.
Yeah.
Best crab riggins I've ever had in my life. Huh. But yeah, so we got the MPO one's well on its way. And by the time you're listening to this, we should be hopefully almost completely wrapped, if not completely wrapped, and then start focusing on drivability and reliability.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of race cars, or how far are we into this thing?
We're only an hour and a half in.
Oh, I got like a short little thing.
We got all night, man.
No, we don't. We really don't.
No, we don't.
But speaking of race cars, so my dad is a crazy man. He's a very difficult human being. Love him as I may.
He seems pretty easy going.
Yeah, so he had this like 64 or something like that Catalina.
Okay.
62, 63, 64 Catalina. I don't know. Big body car, which I was not a big fan of. That's what he kind of ended this season with.
Okay.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I'm like,
yeah, I remember that.
He listens to this, so whatever. But I'll say it anyway. Like in the last like year to year and a half, he's really been up and down, left and right on what he wants to drag race.
Okay.
And I've kind of tried to stay out of his decision-making process.
And he's still dedicated to drag racing.
Yes,
he's not interested in anything else.
He wants to drag race.
Okay.
And I get that he wants
It's his discipline. That's
Yeah.
what that's his focus.
Yeah.
And he's done it forever.
yeah, he has done it forever. And like, dude, it's so fucking cheap.
Relative.
No.
Drag racing is not cheap.
It's so cheap.
No, there's nothing cheap about any racing.
Here's the thing. If you're bracket racing, you could take the Focus and be a competitive bracket racing drag
okay.
And it's like
he bracket races.
Yeah, and it's like $40 for a night.
Okay.
Like it's so cheap, Robbie.
It's making a lot more sense.
It's so cheap.
Okay.
It's dumb.
That makes so much sense. It's stupid.
And there'll be like 400 people watching you on a random Saturday night.
That's like dirt track racing.
Yeah.
The guys that get like $2,000 purses on.
So
like
the
a
racetrack,
Tuesday night.
that's closest to my dad, so my dad lives east of Cameron, Missouri.
No,
right
Missouri.
right on Interstate 35.
Yeah, in Missouri.
West of Cameron, about 10 or 12 miles, is the drag strip.
Oh,
So like it's right there.
Nice.
Yeah, it's right there.
That's convenient.
Like it's literally across the street from the place that he works at. Like,
oh wow,
like it's
he could work on a Friday, hop a skip and a jump, and he's there.
At the intersection where you turn left to go into the terminal that he works at. If you turn right, you go to the drag strip. Like it's literally across the street.
That's perfect.
So they have a drag strip and a circle track. And on Friday nights it's drag racing, and on Saturday nights it's circle track racing. And the guy that owns that place, that's his full-time job, and he's been making a living doing that for 45 years or whatever.
Shit.
Like, he's got a thing going there.
Clearly.
And like we went there and watched some random Friday night drag racing. It was bracket racing. It wasn't like a special event or anything like that. It was just a random night, and the stands were real full.
No shit.
And this was at like relatively the height of COVID, which didn't really exist in Cameron, Missouri.
The previous height.
Right. That's fair. 2020 height.
Yeah, 2020 peak.
Yeah. So, but like nobody cared in Cameron, Missouri.
No.
But anyway, yeah, like I get that he wants to drag race, and that's fine, but I've kind of been trying to stay out of his decision-making process because I don't want him to buy something because he thinks that I like it and then not be happy with it. Because I know that he desperately wants me to come and race with him more often than I do or can.
Okay.
And I'm worried in my head that he'll buy a car that I want in an effort to make me show up more often.
So he's going to buy your inheritance early, so that it's a car that you want.
No, there's a zero. No matter what he ended up buying, there's a 0% chance that he'll own it when he dies.
Fair enough.
If he dies like at a regular
expected
life like of natural causes, there's a 0% chance he'll die with whatever he ended up buying.
Fair.
Because he's my dad, and it's probably already listed, and he's had it home for 24 hours.
So what did he buy?
So when I was 4 years old and we were going to drag racing events every single weekend, my dad built this tube chassis 62 Pontiac Tempest, which we've talked about
since like episode 1.
A couple of times. Yeah, I think we talked about it.
Episode 3.
Yeah, I think episode 3 was where we talked about like how we got here type of thing. But like, it's a wild car. And we talked about it at length with my dad when he came on the show with us that one time. But he sold that car like probably almost, if not over 20 years ago.
Right.
As a rolling chassis to a guy in Georgia. Fast forward to earlier in this year, my dad had sold that altered thing that he had and was trying to figure out what he wanted to buy next. And he put out some feelers on some Facebook pages or something like that. Like, hey, this is my old car. Just kind of want to know if it's still out there, if anybody knows what happened to it, whatever. And somehow my dad came across the guy that had the car.
Yes. Which,
unbeknownst to me until this week, was the guy he sold it to.
No shit.
So technically, it's a 2-owner car.
That's amazing.
Which is hilarious to me. But so my dad and him kind of talked a little bit. They had agreed on a price like 6 months ago. And then for whatever reason, and again, I tried to stay out of this decision-making process as much as I could because I'm a much more sentimental and emotional human being than my dad is.
I can see that.
And so I didn't want him to buy that car because I have an emotional attachment to it.
Right.
So I really tried to stay out of it. And he ended up not buying it. He bought a car that I did not like nearly as much.
Yep.
I don't understand why people want to drag race full body cars, like full size cars. I don't get it. I don't think they look good as race cars. That's just not my thing.
No.
But like people were crazy about this car for whatever. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Fast forward to here a few months ago, my dad sold it. And then he told me here a couple of weeks ago, he said, I can't get the Tempest out of my head. The Tempest is the original car, the car that he built when I was a little kid. He said, I can't get this car out of my head. Ever since I made contact with the guy who has it, it's been in the back of my head. It keeps coming back to me. The price that he is selling it. So my dad was looking for something that he could maybe turn into a gasser. And the problem was that everything he was finding was at like they were rollers that were like, say $12,000 to $15,000, but needed a $10,000 motor,
Right.
or they were $30,000 cars.
Which is what you'd expect them to be. I mean,
Right. But my dad just like couldn't get his head around spending $15,000 on a roller, and couldn't get his head around spending $30,000 on a running car.
and I don't blame him.
And so, whatever the price, which I'm not going to disclose because it's none of my
nobody's
business. I
business.
do know what it is, but it doesn't matter.
Nope.
The price that they agreed on before, when my dad ended up backing out on buying it, was a really reasonable price.
Okay.
Because my dad was like worried that this guy was like, oh, this is the car that this guy built 20 years ago. I'm going to slap a $50,000 price tag on it. Fuck that guy. And like came up with a totally reasonable number. And my dad just couldn't get it out of his head.
Yep.
And so he ended up, like, he called me up one day and he goes, what are you doing the weekend of New Year's Eve? And I said, I don't have any
Nothing.
real plans. Like, normally we're supposed to go to Katie's dad's house for Christmas, but there's some other reasons we're not going to do that this year.
Yep.
And I was like, so I don't really have any plans. And he's like, do you want to go to Georgia and get a car? And I was like,
Yeah.
that car? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to Georgia and we're buying that car. And I was like, you're not fucking with me right now, are you? Like, don't do this to me, dude.
Yep.
And he's like, no, I'm buying. And he ended up, him and my uncle ended up going down there this week. They drove straight through the night. It's a 12-hour drive from my dad's house.
That's what you do when you go to Georgia for a car. You just drive.
Yeah. They
You don't
drove
stop.
straight there, picked the car up at like 9 o'clock Wednesday morning, turned around and headed home, and got home back to my dad's house at like 11:30 or midnight last night.
So the only thing they did wrong was that once they picked up the car, they should have gotten a very nice.
Oh, they definitely did not
get a very
fancy
nice
steak.
lunch.
They
or
did
something.
not get a fancy steak. So,
Just a big old tomahawk. That's what you need.
Jesus Christ.
You love the tomahawks.
I do. You're not wrong, Robbie.
Adam loves a tomahawk steak.
You're not wrong, Robbie. So, the car is sitting in my dad's shop in Hamilton, Missouri now. It runs.
That's good.
This time, he sold it with sans motor.
Yes.
Now it came back with motor.
Is it the motor he wants?
It is most of the way to the motor. Like, if anything, it's more than the motor he wants.
Okay.
So when my dad sold it, it ran like a mid to low 10, like a 10 to 1020
Okay.
quarter mile. Now it's allegedly a mid 9-second car. So it's like probably almost a full second faster than it was before, which is not
It's not an insignificant.
It's not
amount.
an insignificant. It's like 20 to 25 mile an hour more, which is a pretty significant number. So basically, it is a 455 Pontiac, which is very important to my dad.
Cool.
It is not a big block Chevy, which is also very important to my dad. But it has like the best heads that money can buy for that engine. The engine is, I think, bored and stroked a little bit, or maybe just bored out a little bit. It is a full alcohol car right now,
Which is a gigantic pain in the ass.
apparently. So it's got like this huge vacuum scavenging pump because it puts a lot of water into the system,
Oh.
or a lot of and like you have to change the oil after every race weekend.
Which is
So
only,
like if
which
my
is only,
dad
like,
goes to the drag strip in Cameron, Missouri, and makes
5 passes.
5-10, not even 10-second passes, he's got to put $40 or $50 worth of oil into this thing on Saturday
Yikes.
or Sunday before he can. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
And
he's not like in it to win it at any cost.
well,
You
he's
know,
bracket racing, so it literally doesn't matter how fast you go.
Yeah.
It's also got a ton of electronics that it didn't have in it before. And it's got an air shifted transmission in it.
Neat.
Right?
That is neat.
Right?
I want to drive that.
Right?
Just 5/10. I just want to feel
Dude.
that. I want to feel it.
I'll bet that car will launch like nothing you've ever launched before.
I believe that.
My dad has made a few passes with that car at Heartland Park on a well prep surface. Like when we raced back in Northwest Iowa, like what we thought was a good prep surface was not that good. Like Humboldt, Iowa, and Marion, South Dakota are not track prep havens.
That's fair. That's probably a fair statement.
And like that car would leave hard. I mean, it's a full tube chassis car. The engine is way back. Like the cowl underneath the windshield is removable, so you can access the distributor because it's underneath basically underneath the dash.
That's crazy.
Like, and when you get in that car, if I remember right, the front of the seat is basically where the B pillar is, like maybe a little bit forward of that. But like when you're in the car sitting down, you're behind the B pillar.
Oh yeah,
it's a full tube car.
Jeez. And
so like it's a ladder bar coilover suspension in the back, and like I mean it's set up to drag race,
right?
You know, it's like that car will leave a standing start like nothing you have ever driven before.
Yeah,
I
want to feel
you
that.
know,
yeah,
and now it's going to be even dumber.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So I think he already called me today, and he's like, what do you think about getting rid of the alcohol system? And he kind of explained it to me, and I was like, what do you lose, like half a second? Like, is it worth the hassle? And then my dad doesn't know anything about running alcohol. He doesn't know anything about tuning carburetors on alcohol. Like, it's.
I feel like it's a can of worms that he wouldn't want to chase.
And so he's all. I think, and I couldn't agree more. Like,
I'd be the same way.
Just take it out. Screw it. So, but yeah, I guess it came with a fiberglass deck lid and a fiberglass hood, but that are not painted.
Okay.
So he has those. He can lighten the car up a little bit. It's not an especially heavy car, I don't think. But yeah, it's a wild little thing.
It's still got the same paint scheme as when he sold it.
Exactly the same.
Nothing.
The only thing that has changed is the engine and transmission. It actually still has the rear end that my dad sold it with 20 years ago.
No shit.
And then the guy re-sheet metaled the whole interior, and it actually is much nicer than it was when my dad sold it.
Wow, good for him. That's awesome.
Inside. So the paint's a little tired because it's a 20-year-old paint job. But yeah, it's all there.
He could use the products from his petrol box to shine that up.
It's everything that I remember. Like,
gets you right in the feels,
dude. Like in ways that I can't even begin to describe. Katie thinks I'm a fucking idiot.
No,
but like I almost went back down there this weekend. Like I'm not going to anymore. But like I told Katie flat out when I found out that Dad was like, we're going to my parents' house this weekend. I don't care.
Hell yeah.
I ended up changing my mind. I'm not going to do it. But we will be there in January. There is a 0% chance that I'm not going down there to see this car as soon as I can.
Dude, that's so cool.
Like,
did you ever drove it? Yeah, I guess you're probably too young.
No,
You never drove it.
Never anywhere close to old enough to be able to handle anything like that. So, but like my first junior dragster was painted exactly like that car, but flipped. So that car, the front half is yellow and the back half is blue, and then it looks like it's
ripped,
like it's been ripped and tore, and that exposes the other color underneath it. My junior was blue in the front and yellow in the back. The only major difference, other than the flip, is if I remember right, the car had like an orange airbrushed outline around the tears that you can't really see in these pictures. And my junior did not.
Okay. Yeah. See, and the problem is it's kind of an older picture, and it's a
picture you have
a picture
here,
of a picture.
Yeah, the picture you have here is a picture from the Sheldon Car Show when I was
a child,
14. Like this was literally 20 years ago.
I don't think you're even 14 in that picture.
No, I probably wasn't.
No way.
I started drag race. I want to say so. You could start when you were 8, but I didn't. I want to say I was either 10 or 12. I want to say I was 10. And then I raced that car for 2 years. And then we bought the second one, and my sister started driving that junior, and I drove the other one for 2 more years, and then skating took over.
Yep. God, I miss skating.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah. That drag car, that Tempest, is like... I mean, that car, I probably wouldn't be the car guy I am today if that car didn't exist.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I mean, yeah, I've totally left the drag racing world. Like, it's not where I'm at. But, like, that car shaped what I am still.
I'm disappointed that I won't be there when you get to see it again.
Oh, dude,
because
like,
you're gonna have a moment.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
That's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I can't wait. I was actually like, he asked me like, "Do you want me to wait for you?" Like, because I couldn't take more time off.
Right.
So he's like, "Do you want me to wait?" And I told him no, but I really kind of wish that I would have been able to go.
Yeah, that'd have been super cool. It'd been cool to see his moment when he sees it. You know,
Yeah.
Because if he's not quite as attached to cars as anyone that like you, for example,
I'm not convinced that he's not. I just think he might be better at hiding it because
the fact that he went back to it.
He drove 12 hours to buy that car, which it's a really good price. And like honestly, he could turn around and sell it right now and make money on it. The only reason that he bought that guy did not list it.
Right.
My dad reached out to him and said like, would you be interested in selling it? And he put a price on it, but he said, I'm not trying to sell it. But like, I guess he hadn't used it in a year or two.
That's the time to.
And he had another car. He had another Firebird he was trying to build. And so
they'll give him motivation to finish the Firebird, and
and the money.
Yep, I get it.
So I don't know. I cannot describe how excited I am that this car is back in my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that's the car he flipped.
Wrecked, like flipped.
That's the car that he that the rear end locked up and he put it on the roof.
Oh shit.
That's the second paint job.
Okay.
I'd have to dig real hard, but I do have a picture of the first paint job. Again, it's a picture of a picture.
Of course. From 25 years ago.
Yeah. So I was basically Logan's age when that car was built.
Okay.
Originally.
Yeah, it's super cool, and it's really cool that car didn't change in the last 20 years. Like, I mean, improvements, but not like
right. Like it's still drag racing cars are so much cooler. From like drag cars from 20 years ago are the coolest cars.
Well, look at what's going to be at Lime Rock for Grid Life.
Well, yeah, but none of them look like that.
Not like
none
that.
None of them have that insane. That's like mini truck and paint.
Yes, that is a proper paint job.
So good, dude. I love it.
Someone spent good money and time and talent to get that paint job.
My dad handed the guy who painted that the car and said, "No greens, no pinks." Surprised me. And that's how it came back to us. And there was green on it. Have we told that story? Did he tell that story?
I remember this story.
So the air cleaner on that underneath the hood scoop on the carburetor that was on the car, it's obviously not there anymore.
Right.
We'll talk about that off the podcast, actually. It's the air filter is like 6 inches tall.
Yes.
Right. So they probably taped where the top of the air cleaner was and then pulled it off, pulled that stud that sits in the carburetor out, and painted that lime green.
No pinks, no greens.
Like, so my dad didn't see that was lime green until
way later,
6 months later or whatever, you know? Like, oh, you son of a bitch.
That's the way to do it.
So, but yeah, we didn't know. And the first paint job was wild and strange too. Like it wasn't anything normal, but yeah, we didn't know what we were getting when he got it back.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And it turned out great.
Yeah. It's one of the coolest things. So I think we'll have that car at Heartland Park if there's a drag racing, like a test and tune style thing.
That'd be so good.
I hope they do. I really hope this year, which from the sounds of it, that is the intention. And I think that car will be there to make some passes, which is going to be the best day of my life.
So good.
So
yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Should be cool.
Nice. I think we did a show.
We did a show.
All right, we'll remind everybody to plan ahead for next year and use Apex Pro for all of your on-track data acquisition and coaching needs. So apextrackcoach.com.
I got to put one of these in the drag car and see what kind of
data
acceleration G it pulls.
Yeah, that'd be great. We've got spares.
I know.
Take one.
I will definitely have to take one.
And if you if you're a winner in mid-div this year, you got a free one.
Boom.
But if you didn't go to mid-div, you missed out. You missed out big. So we have 6 Apex Pros in my house.
It's probably more than Apex Pro has.
3 of them are Gen 1s, though.
Oh, okay.
No. 5 of them are Gen 1s.
Oh.
So the winner's got Gen 1s.
I can't blame him.
No, absolutely not. But I'm hoping to team up with them, not only with the podcast, but also with Midiv as well. So that'd be if you're running a Midiv, you could also potentially have a chance to win that. Or if you already have an Apex Pro, we could have some other prizes. I'm hoping.
You need an Apex Pro sticker on that NPO1 somewhere.
I would agree. I have some stickers we should slap on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to get a hold of Andrew and either learn more about data, the app is free. It is our official it's our official motorsports app.
Right.
There it is. Apex Pro is our official motorsports app. If you want to just use the lap timer, kind of like how you would use a Harry's lap timer or any of those other free ones, Apex Pro is free. And that'll kind of give you an idea of some of the data points that you can use and just kind of get a feel for what's available. And then when you pair it with the unit or the OBD2 module, get endless amounts of data for the cheapest data to price level. Apex Pro is the best value. And then you can get an even cheaper value when you use our code, 1010s. ApexTrackcoats.com.
All right, you told me before we started the show that you were going to really upset some people.
I did. We got a hot take. I almost forgot about the hot take. It's Christmas. So, every year people like to argue about this.
Uh-huh.
And I think the reason it's a hot take for me is probably not what everyone's going to expect.
Okay.
So, Adam.
Yeah?
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
You give your hot take first, Robbie. I think our hot takes are very similar.
I don't have a fucking clue. I've never seen it.
I have never sat down. Well, okay, I shouldn't say I've never sat. I don't remember ever sitting down and watching it start to finish.
Nope, never.
I have definitely caught bits and pieces, and that is totally a movie that my dad would watch.
Yep.
So I probably watched it when I was 5.
Yep. This is one.
I don't, because we only had one TV in our house. So like whatever Dad was watching is what all of us were watching.
Yep.
So I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't recall it.
Yep. No, Jess's family like big into action movies. Her dad always liked that stuff. So like she's seen it countless times.
Uh-huh.
And every year it gets around Christmas, like, we're gonna watch Die Hard. I was like, I guess I've never seen it. What? Jess, we went over this last year. I didn't see it then. I haven't seen it still. But
it's available on like Peacock or something
everywhere.
like that.
We just didn't get around to it this year. But like we were rapping because the card's actually at Tony Morrow Collision because Booney's got a good relationship with Tony Morrow.
Yeah.
And so we're over there the other day and we're just rapping and Tony comes in doing his thing, bullshit with us for a little bit and go back do his thing. And Booney made a comment about a quote from the movie, and I was like, I knew the quote, and then it was like "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker," and everyone knows that quote.
Yeah.
And then like, I was like, is that like a new, like, what's that from, man? I've never heard that before. Just like, just poking.
Oh, poke the bear, absolutely.
Just poking him. And he's like, what do you mean you've never seen it? And I was like, I don't know, man, I've never seen it. And then, so he's like getting Tony, and then I don't know the other guy's name who's working there. He's like,
I assume Tony's roughly Booney's age.
No, he's a bit older.
Right, but he's not like 22.
No.
Like
he
has a very
man.
Successful body shop, like one of the biggest body shops in Des Moines.
Yep, and a powder coating company.
Yeah, he's a very successful individual.
He's done a bunch of like high level racing stuff. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like NASCAR stuff.
Oh, interesting.
That'd be a good person to talk to.
Interesting.
Because he keeps coming in like telling us about, like, oh yes, talking to like when we were racing with so and so. I was like, that NASCAR driver? Oh yeah, and this other guy. Okay. He's such a cool guy. But when he goes to him like for backup, and he's like, I don't know, I've never seen it. and then unbelievably, the other coworker hadn't seen it either. So Boone was outnumbered 3-1.
Oh no.
He had no idea how to respond to the fact that he was the only person in that room that had seen Die Hard.
I would count it as I've never seen it. I've seen bits and pieces.
Yep.
And I know the plot points.
Yeah. I have nothing against it. It's just never had a chance.
I'm sure it's a great
never
movie.
taken the time to
I'm
sit
sure
down
I
and
would
watch it.
thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm sure I'd enjoy it.
I just haven't watched it.
I'll watch it eventually. I did see when it came out, I watched Live Free and Die Hard, or Live Free and, I don't know, whatever it's called. Live Free and Die Hard.
Okay.
The newer one.
Oh, I didn't know that was a
episode
newer
4 or whatever. So I've seen that one.
Okay.
Once.
Was it terrible?
It was fine.
Oh, okay.
I only watched it once, so I mean, it wasn't that good.
Huh.
But I probably,
You know what, like, old action movie that's, I think, in a similar vein to Die Hard that I think came out at roughly the same time that I love to watch?
Okay.
True Lies.
That's a great one.
That movie is awesome.
That's a great movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tom Arnold. Oh, my God, it's so funny.
It's been a long time since I've seen that. But yeah, it's
movie.
very good.
It's a good movie.
That one, and then I had never seen it. It was one of those movies my mom and dad had and then hid it from me because I was a child and they wouldn't let me watch it.
Yeah.
Jess and I watched Wild Things for the first time ever.
Okay.
It was really good. Like, it came out like 20 years ago and I finally watched it.
We watched Porky's this weekend.
Great movie. Fucking great.
That was our family Christmas this year. We watched Porky.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't make him watch 30 Days a Night this year.
Oh.
I know. That's a Christmas movie. I understand it doesn't take place over Christmas. It's in the winter in the snow.
I get it. I know where you're angling.
Yep. It's my snowstorm movie.
So, all right. Let's shut it down, Robbie.
Yep. We'll catch everybody next week.